Hi, everybody. Thanks for checking here. Sorry for that 1 minute delay there. It took a little while for YouTube to load, but I think we're ready to go. Um, yeah, that's my first YouTube live, so thanks a lot for joining me. Um, Seems like there's a bit of problem with my with the broadcast here. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, we'll get started in just a moment. If you could tweet out to me at Nathan Gildart if you're having a hard time getting through to this. And I think we're just going to kind of get started here. Just because we only have 15 minutes, I would like to do a little bit of Q&A. Um, and I'm not really getting to see what the YouTube live version of this is looking like, so I'm just going to kind of go ahead here. Um, I will do one more thing, though. If you have any questions, I would like you to drop a note to me at me right there, nathangildart@gmail.com. Okay, now let me keep going with the broadcast here because I want you to see some of this really neat stuff that we got out there for you. However, I got to get back to this. Okay, so TED Ed clubs actually have now been changed to TED Ed Student Talks. So if you have a look, you're going to notice it says TED Ed Student Talks. So don't be confused by that. Before I move on, I probably should tell you a little bit about myself. I'm coming at you from central Japan right now. I am, middle years program individuals and societies teacher and a diploma program history teacher at an IB school. So the students come from all over the world. We have about 500 kids and 50 kids from, among the 500 kids, about 50 different countries represented. We've done the TED Ed clubs now for a couple of years. We've just finished our second cycle. And I'm going to tell you kind of what that looks like. So without further ado, I'm going to start with a bit of a school poster we put out when we were first trying to recruit students a couple years ago. One of the TED Ed clubs or student talks mantras is, what would you say if the world was listening? And these bullets that you see here, you're going to see in another slide soon. This is the purpose behind TED. This is what they want kids to learn. And the kids that can participate are age 8 to 18, so roughly grade 3 right up until grade 12. So, you can start really young. And really, you can start a little bit earlier if you wanted to. It depends on who you are. But as you can see from this slide, they want creative ideas. They want to get kids from different countries and backgrounds to connect and collaborate with each other. I'll tell you how you can do that later. They want to celebrate the ideas of students. So each individual has their own idea. And of course, there's a presentation and public speaking that you do, that you learn. And there's critical thinking and problem solving that goes along with it as well. And of course, it's supposed to be fun. So this you're going to see on the right side here. You see that image quite a lot. The light bulb with all the different things that kind of connect to it. You've got the photography, you've got the pencil for recording your ideas, and the film, the TV, and that kind of thing. So basically, the clubs, again, they want to stimulate, connect. They want to give kids a platform. They want them to develop their presentation ideas and point out that it looks kind of good on a resume if you do a TED Ed club. And again, it helps them develop skills they're going to need for the world. So as you are the leader, basically you're going to help the kids get their storytelling skills developed, okay? Because public speaking really is about telling a story if you want people to be engaged. And it starts by having the kids tease out their idea, an idea of personal interest. And they start to think more about, what are the component parts of this idea. And they could start out with many ideas, and then they just kind of narrow it down and narrow it down and narrow it down. And that actually takes a bit of time. It usually took my students this year and last year about 6 weeks or a month to do that. And of course, they prepare a student talk that connects with and engages an audience. So it's not really just about coming up with something you want to talk about. How do you make it personal? How do you make people really resonate with it? How it gets them thinking or gets them feeling emotional. And that learn part, again, that's the public speaking skills. I didn't complete that statement. Whoops. Now, if you want to, then you can host a TED Talk at your school, or you can apply for a TEDx license and actually do a youth talk. The name they recommend is, for example, TEDx at Youth in Tokyo. Um, and that can be a very huge opportunity for kids to learn production of an event, and not only prepare their own talk, or like a musical, for example, you could have, or a play, you could have kids backstage with the production team, and then you've got the students that are doing the talks, and in the end you upload to TED on their YouTube channel, and I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. Now, there is a guidebook that you get of explorations. There's a lot of support that TED does give you. Um, so they have extension activities now, which they had a few before, but now it's fairly well developed. And the whole cycle begins with figuring out what the students are interested in on a personal level, on an individual level. And it goes all the way up to learning how to produce quality sound and audio, light, and video. And if you want to put on your own TED or TEDx event, they have a separate guidebook that teaches you how to, or what kind of equipment that you really should be using. And of course, in the end of a real cycle, you upload the videos you've taken to the YouTube channel. And it doesn't have to be a video from an event. It can be video from just them in the classroom doing their talk in the end. And you can see here, that's what the table of contents looks like from the old guidebook, actually. I'm going to show you the new guidebook when I get through this slide deck. So the process, you do have to register. You have to read the guidebook and other materials. And I just realized here, I think I haven't shared my screen with you. I'm an idiot. First time for everything here. All right. So now let me get back to my, so this is the slide deck that I've been kind of explaining. You could probably go along with it by clicking on the link that I put in the YouTube description. So anyway, you have the guidebook, and you read through the materials after you register, or before you register even, and then you have to join an onboarding meeting with the TED team if you want to be official. Now, you could just take the guidebook and then have your own TED club and not be official if you really wanted to, but then you wouldn't be able to upload to TED because you do have to have student permission forms signed by parents and guardians. So after you have your onboarding meeting, then you recruit your club members. You determine what student club roles there would be. There are leaders. Some might be for doing audio, video, promotion, that kind of thing. And you begin your cycle. And the average cycle is about 4 to 6 months. You can get extensions if you run out of time. I'll tell you about the challenges we faced, and time was the biggest one. And through this whole process, then you can reach out to other clubs via TED on Facebook. You can seek advice, share ideas. You can do connect calls. We've tried connect calls with schools in India and Korea, which didn't work out. We did have one with a TEDx club in Korea that gave us some really good advice for our very first, our first student-driven event. And of course, it's a good place to share successes. So the Facebook community is fairly active, actually. So here's an example of a connect call that we had with a school in Korea, over the shoulder shot, of course. Now for us, our challenges were dealing with busy schedules. International schools, I'm sure a lot of schools, they have a lot of clubs. Kids participate in a lot of different things. And so we've realized that we have to have a mandatory commitment. We tried to help kids do, our club with another club. But the reality is, as you move along in each exploration, you do, to a degree, have to move together. You don't have to be at the same place, but you don't want to be going every 2 and 3 weeks back 2 or 3 explorations to catch up this group of students while the others, still ahead. What we're doing now is creating practice opportunities where we're doing Ignite talks. So after the students get their first few ideas, then we do a quick 1-minute presentation at a lunchtime in the school library, invite people to come, and the students have 1 slide to talk about. And so they get a chance to practice public speaking a little bit, and just with the very shell of a few ideas before they decide on their final idea. And ideally, other people will, talk to them afterwards and say, hey, I like your second idea. Connect calls, again, we're going to try to be better with Connect calls as TED Ed clubs grow in Japan. Hopefully we'll be able to do that. And something we did last year and didn't get a chance to this year was do practice videos. Well, we did practice videos, but we uploaded them to Flipgrid, and then we linked a Google form where people could give feedback on the practice videos, and it was that authentic audience. It wasn't just me, the teacher, kind of explaining it to them. Next time, we're going to choose a theme. We haven't done that for 2 years. TEDx events usually have a theme, but we've decided we weren't going to do that. We just wanted to focus on ourselves. But next year, because we want to invite other speakers, other adults and schools and clubs, we want to give them something to help focus them as they prepare a talk. And what we want to do is actually create and produce an event where every student has some kind of role leading up to the event, aside from just doing a TED Ed talk. So here's another example of one of the Ignite talks and our students practicing the public speaking. This is a poster we made for our first event last year. We called it TED Ed Afternoon. This time we had an event downtown in central Nagoya. It was very successful. We were hoping for 30 people. We had 55. So the advertising kind of worked, and it really got our students excited. So, dream high. We're looking for more next year. We're going to be inviting other schools, and we're going to be inviting other students to join. And in this, I've got some links here. So the TED Ed blog, that'll kind of keep you up to speed on what they're doing. They only post every once in a while. Exploration activities are there. TED Ed lessons are separate, but have a look at that. And student talks, this is where you're going to get started. So I'm going to escape here. I'm going to keep sharing my screen, but I want to show you why that's happening there. The guidebook. So they have the guidebook here. And this is the new one, brand new, just came out. And you notice that they call it Student Talks Leader Guidebook. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I'm going to show you some of the key components. And what it does is give you the different explorations. So tell us who you are, discover great ideas, learn the art of feedback, identify your ideas. A little bit different from the last time. And they talk about things like the through line and the story arc, and these are going to take a lot of time. And these three, I'd say, even more than writing the script, believe it or not. They show the ever important proper visuals that are going to bring people in. Let's see, and we're getting close to time here. So gets you right down to when you're recording the talk. Again, if you go through, it's quite long. It's got a lot of tips, and it gets into the different explorations in detail. They do have a student, that's an example of the form that parents and guardians and students will have to fill out. And they do give a student talks journal, so students can kind of keep an idea of what they're doing or keep track. If you don't have time to create your own thing, then they can get their ideas down there. So that's quite nice to have. It's visually appealing as well. And I want to show you, if I can get to it here, our YouTube channel that they have. So for us, we type in Nagoya International School, and these are videos from students that presented this year and last, not in any particular order now, actually. So you can upload to the YouTube channel. Now, if you bear with me here a little bit longer, so if you log into the TED Ed Student Talks, you'll notice here, ed.ted.com Student Talks. If you click, they give you all these little to-do things. And I saved this one for this because I've already got everything uploaded, got the last one done today. And so you can see it helps you kind of keep track of what you're doing. When you get to, and notice this is under the Manage Task tab as well. If you go to Materials, and that's where you're going to find the toolkit, you're going to find the idea journal for students, the guidebook, permission forms, and all that stuff. And anything else really you need, TED Ed swag if you really want to buy stuff. Community, that gives you an example of where you can go to sign up for meeting other people within TED Ed. Again, how to get to connect calls and meet people from different parts of your country or around the world. They do have Connect Call events throughout the year, so we haven't been able to do it because of our time zone, but it really is a great idea. Um, and then when you want to renew, this is what we're about to do. You just click on that tab. Well, about to. We'll do it in September, and you can see here this is our cycle. We made sure it was extended right up until the end of May because we knew it would take that much time. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And I'm actually going to head to the YouTube and the chat. I want to have a chance to kind of see how it looks and see if there might be any questions in there. And if not, YouTube and the chat, I want to have a chance to kind of see how it looks and see if there might be any questions in there. And if not, chat, I want to have a chance to kind of see how it looks. Okay, so yeah, I've just had a look. As you can see me kind of bouncing around here, so I'm going to go back so I don't mess the audio up here. Thank you. I'm glad you could see everything. I hope you got something out of this. I'm actually doing one on digital storytelling next, and this was a nice one to make a few little mistakes in, but I've got a lot of tabs to close and other things to open up. So I'm going to say adios for now, or sayonara in Japanese. If you have any questions, please contact me, nathangildart@gmail.com, or get me on my Learning Lightbulbs blog. And I'd love to share more ideas. And at my Learning Lightbulbs blog, I do have TED Ed Clubs post where you can kind of get another idea of, or another take on how we're doing this, and lots of different links. So anyway, thanks for joining me. And I hope the slide deck will help you out. Bye-bye.